here is an irony that I want you to process regarding the issue of Ellen White. You see, the church is very quick to respond to concerns regarding challenges, doubts, and criticism of Ellen White. And they're very quick at it. And they've done, for the most part, I think, a fair job at answering those questions. But I don't think that this approach really gets to the heart of the issue. Because we have no desire, I don't think, to truly address the deeper issue that is causing these reactions. Because what I'm going to talk about, is what causes both the criticism of Ellen White and the deconstruction of Adventist faith, Adventist belief by so many of our members. And that is that the real issue is not the criticism or challenges or doubts about Ellen White, but the way our membership has been passively trained or taught or allowed to place Ellen White above the Bible. Yes, as a denomination, we correctly and proudly teach that we do not place Ellen White over the Bible. But it doesn't matter how much we officially make statements. The experience of the membership tells a different story. Because for the members, it is so much easier to just think, what does Ellen White say? And then just read that. Study that. And every discussions that are difficult to process or challenging or unsure, well, they say, well, Ellen White said da 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 da, and then in a way that kind of answers the question. And no one really challenges that or say, well, let's not, look to Ellen White yet. Let's look at the Bible first. If we say that, then we don't want to sound like we're undermining Ellen White, so we just kind of finish there. But that, I think, is the bigger issue. Because that is the very reason why those outside the church criticize Ellen White. We have placed so much emphasis on authority on Ellen White that we act as if every little thing that she said must be obeyed. And so when we find a new writing or something that she said that we didn't know before, like, oh, I didn't know that before, and so we try to obey that, and then find something else, and like it just kind of get, I don't know, distracted, or I don't know, overly focused on the details. Because you have to read Ellen White broadly, if that's a different story. But yeah, so we have used Ellen White to like get on people and to try to tell them to do one thing or that. And so like people have started to dislike Ellen White because a lot of things Ellen White talks about in detail and in an authoritative way that the Bible does not. And so in certain lifestyle practices or things like that, we have to use Ellen White if we're going to make that an authoritative conversation. And so that is an issue. And that is the exact reason why those outside the church and those who are in the church is criticizing Ellen White. But we don't seem to have a problem with that issue. And second, this is the more dangerous outcome. And that is that if we allow this approach, this over-dependence on Ellen White to take place without some effort to kind of uplift the Bible without putting Ellen White down, because you don't have to put Ellen White down to uplift the Bible. If we don't do something about it, we will. And we have seen time and time again people whose faith in the Adventist church get destroyed because somebody made them doubt Ellen White. Why? Because in their experience, Ellen White was like more, I don't know, in a way, to a large extent, their foundation. That is where they turn to for answers. She is the one that settled every discussion. And therefore, when somebody comes and makes them doubt Ellen White, their foundation of Adventism is over. And they feel that they are now able to deconstruct Adventism. Because in their experience, Ellen White was the foundation. But nobody questioned it. Nobody thought to help them process Adventism from the Bible and the Bible alone. You see, the criticism of Ellen White, I don't believe, comes from Ellen White herself. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. I think it is the way we have approached Ellen White, and we have allowed our members to approach Ellen White without guidance and without clarity and structure or system, that we have allowed people to build their faith in Adventism on the statements of Ellen White without even seeing the big picture of Ellen White. I mean, like, you cannot be an imbalanced Adventist if you read Ellen White broadly. That's a different topic for a different time. But I want you to think about that the crisis that we are in, we have been in regards to the way people criticize Ellen White and the discomfort that it causes the church, that in my opinion, the correct approach isn't to defend Ellen White, but to clarify the Bible. Because if you clarify the Bible, you could at the least pass on the message that we uplift the Bible and the Bible only. Because like I said, I believe it's possible to build Adventism on the foundation of Scripture without Ellen White. But while we are quick to defend and, in some cases belittle those who are critical of Ellen White, we have only alienated them and given the impression that we make the Bible more important, make Ellen White more important. The truth loses nothing by investigation. And I believe that if we make the Bible say what it's meant to say, you see, this is the important part. You have to know the Bible to appreciate Ellen White for what she truly is. But our members who do not know their Bibles well, they depend on Ellen White without a proper knowledge of the Bible. Therefore, their view of Ellen White and the view of salvation, the view of the gospel that they have based on Ellen White is not healthy. And it's not because Ellen White is off, it's because they don't know how to approach the topic based on the Bible. Therefore, they're operating their beliefs system on their misconstrued understanding of Ellen White based on a not so broad approach. Because if you read the writings of Ellen White broadly, you will become balanced. You will be more balanced than any other denomination on the planet. Because the writings of Ellen White is beautiful. It is beautiful. I love it. It changed my life. But I remember one day in high school, especially, that was a time when I read Ellen White a lot. I remember vividly looking into the mirror in my dorm room, right above the sink. I washed my face and I looked in the mirror and I realized Ellen White's message is so simple. She's simply telling me to read the Bible more. And that was it. Did I stop reading Ellen White? No. But I began to read the Bible a whole lot more. And so, I hope that made sense, and I hope you stuck with me until now, because if you understand what I'm saying, your Christian experience will be transformed. You will see the Bible for what it is, and you will allow Ellen White to keep you balanced in your experience. And so, yeah, that's my 2 cents.